going on, everyone? This is Chuck, and you're watching the ITXP Season 8, Episode 2. It's been a while. And the reason being is I actually got sick back in April. Something going around, shut down the whole world. I got the 3 shots, boom, 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 and I still got it. I don't know. The challenge here was it actually took me out for a while. I'm not the healthiest person in the world, but it wasn't so much the fact that I was sick and had a fever, I was achy. It was I had this cough. It was almost like a bronchitis cough that took away my voice for a good month and a half. I really couldn't speak for long periods of time. Had to take some time off of work, and that really put a hamper on the achievements or the goals that I wanted to complete by this point in the year. It's September. I haven't been on in so long. I started probably last week streaming again my Fortnite plays, but I really haven't done anything in terms of an episode. Primarily because I had to catch up. There are a lot of things going on in my personal life, but I wanted to say that I'm still here. Had to take a pause on this because, again, I was out of commission for literally April and then May, probably by the end of June, beginning of July. I actually got to a point where I could talk for a long period of time. I had put Toastmasters on hold, presentations that I had to do at work. I put them on hold because I literally could not talk for longer than 10 minutes. And even after that, and even now, I'm still trying to regain my strength. If I had spoken for, let's say, a period of 30 minutes, let's say I'm doing a presentation, 15 minutes, and then 30-minute conversation, or 15-minute Q&A afterwards, my throat would just be done. I'd have a raspy voice. I'd have to whisper for the most part, and I don't whisper. So it was a challenge to continue this progression forward with the podcast or the show. So I said, you know what? Let me take a break. Let me just continue recording some of my Fortnite streams because I want to do something at the tail end of the event, just showing how shitty I am at Fortnite. But I enjoy it. It's one thing. If you find something that you enjoy, do it, because you're not going to get many opportunities in this life to do something that you enjoy. So if it's a little thing called gaming that takes an hour, half an hour out of your day, and just to kind of break away from everything, do it. What's stopping you? Yeah, your wife. Okay, so do it when she's not around. I don't know how to further explain that to you because it's something that I've always believed in, obviously. But I haven't been around because I've had challenges talking for a long period of time. But I'm back. I started streaming last week, just an hour or two here, just really getting back into the groove of talking to myself because this is not a live show. This is really just me talking into this camera. And I wanted to talk about some of the things that have been going on in the background. Most of you have known, if you follow this show, I did complete my MBA last year in December of 2021. And I talked about it on my second YouTube show, episode 1 of season 8. And that actually has had the most views ever. It had 228 views so far. I think 8 of them were mine. So 220 views. But regardless, it started a conversation, and I was able to answer some questions for folks. You'll see it on the YouTube channel. There are other questions that came in through email, and it really sparked a question in terms of, well, Chuck, you did this MBA. What are you going to do with it? And did it help you in your career? Did it open doors for you? And I have to say no, because I don't want it to open doors for me. It was just something that I wanted to do personally. Sure, I put it in my LinkedIn, hey, I have an MBA, but it was more for me to actually provide reinforcement or justification that I'm not an idiot. Not to say that I thought I was, but just to show that if I set out to do something to accomplish a goal, I'm going to do it. Surely there are other things that I set goals to, but I really wasn't wholeheartedly into it. But the MBA was. But what the MBA did do for me, it actually put my mindset in the right frame so I actually start my own business, which is what I wound up doing in July. And I did that to to jump on an opportunity that I probably would not have had if I didn't get my head on my ass, right? I'm not going to talk about that opportunity because it's still very fragile. But for the most part, I will tell you that it is improving my technical ability as well as improving my ability to run a business. So this is now my third business, I believe, that I've started. The previous two have been major failures. The first one I did after September 11th, and I found myself out of a job, and I was going to do some consulting on the side. I did some consulting with a friend of mine. We were doing things for small shops, and then he broke off to actually go work for corporate America. I still had yet to find a job, so I continued with small mom and pop shops in the area, and then I decided to close the business because I had no more clients. I wasn't really looking to expand, and I said forget it. And then the next time I started, when did I start this show? Probably about the time I started this show, I created a business to handle the details and everything around this. But I opened up the wrong kind of business because I didn't know what I was doing. And I wound up spending more money on the upkeep of having a registered business than not. So I decided to close that business and just hang out until I had something more defined, let's say. So now I have my third business. Really have some steady money coming in to support that business. So now I don't have to take away from the family, and I now have this business that will essentially fund the maintenance and upkeep as I look to expand. It has nothing to do with YouTube, has nothing to do with the show, completely separate, but I'm bundling it in terms of managing the show and the costs around that to essentially have this show self-sustaining. As I've always said, this is going to be free forever. I don't anticipate this being a paid platform because, again, I'm not consistent on this platform. I provide nuggets of information that somebody maybe years on will be able to find useful, and it's just a brain dump. It's a brain dump for folks to find probably years in the future, and some of it may not be relevant, some of it may be, and that's why I tend not to talk around technology too much. And that's because I wanted to have some lasting power. Just really focus on the core of what it means to be an IT professional. And that's really what I've been focusing on in the back end, which has also delayed my ability to make a comeback in terms of doing this show. This episode is going to be a little bit short because, again, I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. Happy to be back. I really do have some information I want to share in terms of what I'm trying to do professionally apart from the business, because I still have my day job, and that's not interfering. My business is not interfering with my day job, but it's something that I'm really taking a look into. Do I want to continue down my day job, or do I want to grow this business based on some of the knowledge I learned as part of my MBA program? So when we talk about the MBA, when we talk about degrees in general in this space, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I want to make sure that you all understand. You do not need a degree, especially nowadays. You do not need a degree, a college degree, to get yourself a job. I'm going to say that again. You do not need a degree to get yourself a job in the IT industry or technology industry. Some of you may say, well, it helps. Of course it helps. Everything helps. Certifications help, this and that. But ultimately, if you have the drive, if you have the grit to learn things on your own, and we've talked about this again in past shows, go to my website, theitxp.com, look through the shows that I posted up there. I think there's only one show that I didn't post up there, and it was the episode 1 of my YouTube show. But other than that, everything's there. And I've talked about not needing a degree, and I've talked about how you could learn the skills that you need to get a job, to land a job. There's so many opportunities now for anyone that wants to get into the tech industry, whether you're a blue collar worker that has the ability to have that analytical and logical mindset, you can get into this industry. If you're in healthcare, if you're in any industry, if you're a teacher, oh my gosh, if you're a teacher, you can get into the tech industry and throw away your teaching career because as from what I see it, and again, this is my personal experience based on what I see with my wife, teachers nowadays are treated like factory workers. And believe me, I know I used to work in a warehouse. My wife used to work in a factory for about a week. So she understands the challenges that teachers are facing nowadays, and they're getting more and more pressure to do more with less. And they've always been doing more with less. And some of you may argue, well, they only work 10 months a year. Yeah, they're 10 months salaried employees. Okay. But they don't get paid during the summer. Oh, get another job. Sure, but what about if you have children that are off during the summer? It's some teachers can't do that. Some teachers can't work during the summer because they have young children to take care of. Okay, they have older children, so okay, they'll get a job. But why should they, right? They work enough during the year with relatively minimal resources for the most part. Now, every state's going to be different. I happen to live in New Jersey. One of the highest paid starting salaries for teachers is in the state of New Jersey. But look at the grades and the scores if you want to go by that in terms of how well our students do compared to someone in another state, and where the teachers are paid significantly lower. So it's one of those things where you can pivot from where you're at, provided that you put in the time and effort to do so. And if you miss those episodes, right, there's freecodecamp.org. Just go to their YouTube channel and start looking through there. Start looking through Codecamp, freecodecamp.org, and you will see some stuff. I'll actually bring up their site in a minute, because I want to actually talk about certifications and just talk about where my mindset is around certifications. But you don't have to get certified initially. You don't have to have a degree. You should have the willingness and capacity to learn, right? Because you could be willing, but if you can't comprehend the detail, the materials that are being presented to you, then I'm sorry, it's going to be very, very, that much more challenging for you to land a job. The ability to have an analytical mindset. Now, I'm not talking about, a beautiful mind, where Russell Crowe is like doing computational math in his head, differential equations and things, and he's like, blah, 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 or statistics. That's not what I'm talking about. Just being able to take something and look at where either that thing needs improvement. It could be an operational process. It could be a business process, something that needs improvement, and you actually can see and connect the dots. That's key. Being able to connect the dots, seeing the big picture from a macro level and then going down to the micro level to really facilitate the improvement of operational efficiencies or business processes. That's key. So having that analytical sense, being able to troubleshoot, you're going to be asked to do a lot of troubleshooting. Again, not only from a technical perspective, so let's say you're a help desk person, a service desk person, whatever you want to call it, desktop engineering, database, security, cybersecurity, risk management, whatever, you're going to need to analyze data points to come up with either a solution or resolution to an issue, or being able to develop something, whether you're a software engineer, programmer, whatnot, to enable the business to make money, to enable a new product launch, whatever. So there are a lot of facets within the technology space that you can take those skills that you have in your current job and apply them, provided that you build a foundation. And that's key. And this is what I'm going to focus on over the next course of episodes, is how do you build that foundation to get into a tech job? Because I think a lot of folks coming into tech want to come into tech because you can make better money than what you have been before. A lot of folks are saying, well, I'm going to make $100,000. That's great. You can make more than that, provided that you put in the time and effort to learn and continue to learn. I work with some people currently and in the past that just become stagnant. They rely on their knowledge of the organization because they've been there for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, and they hold on to that, and they can't break out of that and grow and expand their minds or think differently. And unfortunately, these people stick around because they're the ones that do the work. So yeah, you can have a good job and a steady job if you want to be that, but then you're going to find yourself working late at night, not having time on the weekends. And again, this all varies depending on the industry or the company and the size of the company that you're working on. But it can happen. You can get stuck. And getting stuck is a problem in technology, because if you get stuck, then you're going to get the company stuck. I walked into an organization that didn't want to move from Active Directory 2008 because of the potential issues to applications. Because when they were in AD 2000 and they moved to 2003, a lot of things broke. And then 2003, 2008, a lot of things broke. I came in, I was like, well, why did they break? Right? How did you plan this? Did you understand the changes? Did you communicate those changes? So when I got into the picture and I said, we got to move to 2016 at least, right? Why are we still running 2008? And I started going through, and those same concerns, they came to me, and I said, okay, we'll make note of it, but we're still going to continue pushing and driving forward. So now I have a roadmap, a clearly defined roadmap, that as soon as the OSI layer team releases the templates for the new operating system, we're going to move in. We're going to do this. 4 years ago, I said, hey, how come we're not running Windows Server Core at all? Like, they weren't even doing it. And the response was, well, our security tools don't support Windows Server Core. I was like, did you ask anyone? So I drove that effort to say, hey, where are our security tools? Okay, let's go to the vendor. And you know what was funny? I think it was about 4 years ago. CrowdStrike didn't support Windows Server Core. And I was shocked. I was like, you're a security vendor and you don't support Windows Server Core? Now they do, but my mind was blown that a security vendor doesn't support an operating system version that is what ultimately folks should be running in their organization. So finally, after all those years, we did our testing, we have everything going, and we're going to start deploying Windows Server Core. Sometimes change takes time. It would have been beneficial for the organization to move to 2016 Core at the time. Probably. Would it have made more money? No. Would it have saved me headaches from internal audit and the risk team? Of course, because then I would have a smaller footprint in terms of my attack vectors for Active Directory. But I digress. My point being is, you can enact change in an organization as soon as you walk in there, because you're coming from a different mindset. You may not have a technical background, but you're learning. But you have that analytical sense. Remember I talked about that analytical sense. How I can troubleshoot, how I can look at different problems and either make them better or create new processes to replace the old ones. And that's what's key. So if you want to get into technology, if you really, really want to get into technology, take an assessment of where you are today and see if this is something that you want to do. I talked to a friend of mine. We had reconnected after about a decade. And she said, Chuck, I hate she didn't say I hate my job. She's like, I can't do my job anymore. She works in the hospitality industry. I'm on my feet all day. I work weekends all the time. Sometimes I get called in the middle of the night because I manage the hotel, and it's rough. So I said, so find another job. And she's like, I don't know what to do and this and that. I really want to work from home job, but it's something that I just don't know where to begin. I said, well, do you want to get into technology? Because she's not making a lot of money, and she's, I think, 4 years younger than me, so in her early 40s. But she's been doing the hospitality world for years. Probably since she graduated high school, or even before that. College, even before then. So I said, well, you know what? You can get into the technology space. You're going to have to learn a few things, but I think with your experience in the hospitality industry, you probably would be good as a product owner. And she's like, well, what's that? And I explained to her, I was like, hey, this is what it does, and this and that, and this and that. You'd probably start off here and then work your way up. And I even went on to competing hospitality sites. I think this one was, she doesn't work. She actually does work for an affiliate of Hilton, the Hilton brand hotels. And I said, hey, here is a product owner within the Hilton corporate organization. And this is exactly what they're looking for. And they're looking for someone to help the development teams build out new solutions for their card entry stuff and things like that. And I said, with your experience, you probably would be a good fit. Now, obviously, that role was a very senior role. Somebody that had been a product owner for many years. But I think 2 to 3 years in as a product owner, somebody can just jump in, and that's senior, right? So somebody can jump in and do really, really well. And I said, hey, here's some TikToks, check them out. Here's some other sites that you can look at to see how to get better or learn about this space. And I said, frankly, and she is, I said, you're a beautiful woman and you will fit right in terms of product ownership. And the reason I said that is because for the most part, technology is a male-centric environment, right? So having that beauty will incentivize dorks like me or nerdy people like me to listen, right? And as you could be the face of the product and this and that. That's kind of where I was hinting at. But it's always good to give compliments when you're trying to sell something, right? And so I said, all right, here's some information. We'll talk about it in a couple of weeks. Let me know your thoughts. And she's like, oh, this is great. Let me take a look at it, this and that. We connected about 2 months later. We went out to lunch. We started talking about stuff, and I wanted to see if she brought it up. She didn't. So I asked her. I was like, oh, so what are your thoughts about what I sent you and this and that? She's like, I've been doing it. So the excuses started coming. I was like, all right, hey, what do you want to do? I tried. I gave you some opportunity. And then, I also thought, it was like maybe being a product owner is maybe too lofty of a goal. And I was going to come back and say, maybe you could be a customer success manager for a technology organization. There are a lot of remote jobs for that. You can work for startups. You can work for brands that are growing, and you can be their ambassador. You can work on the customer service side and the customer success management team. You get a few clients assigned to you. You ensure that they're happy and this and that. You don't need to know too much about the product technology. You need to know enough to be able to talk about it, but your background in customer service should help. That's what I was going to pitch to her, but I knew that she really wasn't set on leaving her job or moving industries or moving careers, because people are sometimes really set in their ways because they like that comfort, that security. Excuse me. And I'm the same way. I'm taking a huge risk with this new venture that I'm doing. A huge risk. And I have a family to support. I have kids going to college in about 5 years. So taking that risk for me is something I had to sit down and talk to my wife with. And all she said to me was, don't screw up your day job. That's all she said. She's like, I'm going to support you, but don't screw up your day job. So that's my goal. I'm not going to screw up my day job, but I'm just going to try to grow this business. So that's my little bit of where I was and why I've been gone, and kind of the things in my mind and how I want to continue down the series here and seeing if I can help you, the weary traveler, to land a job in technology. Now, mind you, I didn't say IT, I said technology. So let's keep it to that. You can definitely work in IT, but let's focus on technology, because technology is a very, very broad space. And you can do a number of different things with your current skill sets before you actually get into the meat of technology or even cybersecurity. And that's a good transition now in terms of what I've been working on in terms of my career. Forget the side job or side business, my career. And in my career, for most of you that don't know, I've been in infrastructure, all of it. Started out at help desk, and then I moved to Domino admin, and then exchange, and then AD, and then a couple other things, right? Especially now I'm doing, too many things to even count, right? But the core was infrastructure. So now what I'm doing is I'm looking at moving towards a risk management role and not cyber, right? Let's be clear on that. Cyber is part of risk management, but I'm looking more of the risk management side of the house and where I'm going to be doing the boring things. That's what I'm looking to do because I'm old, right? I'm going to be 46 this year, and I can't stay up in the middle of the night. I can't do that. But I can look at existing controls that are in place for various systems and help organizations manage and improve those controls. Because I've been doing that for the past 12 years now at this point, 15. Hasn't always been a top priority of mine, but I've moved into industries over the past 12 years, or 10 years, I should say, where risk has played a significant part in my job. I've been part of a number of audits. I've been working on the ISO certifications for organizations. So I have a clear understanding of how that works. And what I've noticed that there's a significant gap in terms of risk management and technical competency. Technical competency. So the folks that are working in risk, rightfully so, maybe a good thing, may not be, maybe a bad thing. Who knows? I'm not one to judge, but they don't understand technology. And you're like, well, how can they manage risk if they don't understand technology? How do we have politicians setting laws and policies around technology where they have no clue what it does or how to use it? Same thing, same concept. We just have people that come from the audit side that have moved into IT audit, IT compliance, IT risk, right? And now they're just aligning that into that role. So now we need more technical people on that side. So I'm looking to get into a GRC role. I'm going to start, and you're all going to laugh at this, but I'm going to start with the CISSP and then move into the CRISC, the CRISC, Certified Risk Information Assurance, something like that, certification. And this is what I wanted to talk about today. I'm getting back into the CISSP. God help me. If you remember when I failed it back in 2019, I talked about it. And I said, oh my God. I said, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to take it again. I'm going to take it again. And before I show you what I'm going to show you and what resources I'm going to use this time around, I'm doing this because one of my new hires, she passed her AWS associate exam, and she was super stoked. She had barely worked with AWS before. She spent 3 months studying and working on AWS in the labs and whatnot, and she passed. Then she set her eyes on the CISSP. And I said, that's pretty bold. I was like, have you worked in any type of security capacity at all? And she said, no. She's like, but I want to challenge myself. And will you believe that literally, the next day, the organization did a phishing campaign and she clicked on the link. She said she didn't put in her credentials, but I was like, you clicked on the link? I was like, and you're going to go for your CISSP? I was like, look, that's fine, but really think about what you're doing, because the CISSP is not for the faint of heart. So anyway, she motivated me to get back to it because, I told her my stories around CISSP and this and that. So she's going to take it. ISC Squared is actually offering uh, a free retake if you take it before October 31st. So it's a free retake, and she's going to take that opportunity to take the exam once, see where she needs to build her skills, and then take it again 2 months later. I don't know. She's not dumb. She's not dumb. She's not. She's not. She's a really. She's smarter than me. She's a really, really bright girl. I should say woman. But I said maybe you should start with the Security Plus first, or even the Certified in Cyber, which I actually took as part of the pilot program, and I passed. So I'm officially an ISC Squared member. Well, actually, once they approve it, because it took, I think the pilot program ended on May 31st, and then it was like 12 weeks after that whether you found out that you passed or not, and it was August 29th that I got the email that I passed. And then they had problems with their system where you couldn't get endorsed, or whatever you had to do to actually complete the application process. So I'm still going through that. I haven't officially paid, but I did pass my the Certified in Cyber. I mean, there was no question about it, because I passed my Security Plus. I knew I was going to pass this because it is really the foundational certification. But I wanted to get back into the swing of things in terms of ISC Squared. So I'm going to do the CISSP again. I have gained more knowledge in terms of the software development lifecycle. So I've gained a lot more knowledge in that. I'm not being overly confident on the IAM space, or the IDAM space, the Identity and Access Management space, because I've realized I went there in too confidently, because I've worked with Identity and Access Management for years, but I did go in there too confidently, and just, you know, that kicked my ass, and that's why I was so angry. And I was more angry at myself, not the process, not at the test, but I was so angry. So anyway, the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to start with Certification Station. Now, this is Discord. If you go to certificationstation.org, you can actually go into join their Discord from here. Obviously, there are roles and things like that. They have a YouTube channel. They have a Twitter. Do people still use Twitter? I don't use Twitter anymore. But here's our website, certificationstation.org. Their link to the Discord is there. And start here. As you can see, I'm a big fan of Discord. I have a bunch of things here, mostly for the crypto space. But there are things in here that you can leverage to be a part of this community, right? There's jobs and advice. There's LinkedIn connections. You can start connecting with people. And obviously, here's the CISSP. Here's some pins, right? In terms of, they give you a little bit more information. I actually started following Certification Station when they were on Telegram, and they would post questions every day, and you would be able to answer the questions right then and there. Again, to keep you mentally prepared for the exam. So definitely check out, if you're not a fan of Discord, or if you don't even know what Discord is, check it out, get an account, and start connecting with communities that you are, I don't even know how to say it, that you align with, I guess, right? Here's Quizbot, right? So here's some questions in here that they'll do. So this'll ask you questions, and you can start answering them. Again, another tool, another resource for you to use. You can tell I'm in my bunker, right? I've been here since March of 2020, and I'm not going anywhere. So this is going to be my opportunity now to really focus and hone in on this stuff. I think had I waited a year to take the CISSP because the pandemic happened and things like that, I think I would have been okay. But that didn't happen. So I'm going to do this. I've been doing that, and Certification Station is definitely going to be my go-to resource for just getting more information on where my gaps are and what I need to improve on. So Discord, a plus and a must if you're going to go into technology, because there are a lot of Discord servers out there that you can join and get information and build a community, create relationships. I don't create relationships because I have too many. I'm a, there's so many friends I have. I don't need more. So even virtually, I don't. I'm not in that stage of my life. So if that's something that you want to do in terms of building a community, that's fine. There are times where I will comment, and there will be folks that we've replied to each other back and forth, but I wouldn't say they're friends. It's just, hey, we have the same mindset in terms of our thought processes. But Certification Station and Discord is good. Discord overall is good. It took me a while to get on Discord because, again, I was one of those like, oh, here we go, another thing, another platform I got to join. But it turns out that it's actually pretty good. Take care of yourself when you're in Discord, because there are a lot of spammers out there and trying to do a lot of phishing from you, but social engineering, if you may. But it is what it is. Because that's true of anything on the internet, right? The next thing is the freecodecamp.org website. YouTube channel. They have the CISSP certification course, Pass the Certified Security Professional Exam. Now, this is the older one, but remember, the foundational knowledge that is in the exam has not changed in 2022. It's really the format structure of the exam. I think there's now 175 questions as opposed to 125, right? So there are more questions, but the domains haven't changed. So if you want to get a free study guide or free course, freecodecamp.org released this last year, and it's 13 and a half hours. So it's not for the faint of heart. So I went back in here and I wanted to show you all, a little bit, maybe 5 seconds, because I've noticed that for some reason the most prominent folks that teach the CISSP courses typically have very, very thick accents, and it can be somewhat of a challenge to listen to. And I just want to show you this real quick.
The last domain in this course will be the software development security.
Of course, the audio doesn't work, but here we go.
This is one of the challenging domain because of the amount of terminology in this domain. And unless
what I do here, let me lower this volume.
Background, you're going to need to do.
So what I wound up doing here
but
is I wound up changing the
in
speed
such domain.
to about 1.5.
Now, on the first part, there is an introduction part regarding the different programming language and the programming language, what exactly it consists, and we have the source code
again
that will be combined to machine
I don't know.
code.
Your mileage may vary, but sometimes they have really, really thick accents that can be sometimes a challenge to listen to. Here's another one, and this is famous, Thor Peterson, thorteaches.com.
For your day-to-day job, and definitely also for the exam. It is such an integral part of what we do as IT security professionals. So let's start out with this very simple equation.
So you have those options for you. Those, Thor Teaches is not free, but Free Code Camp is free, obviously by the name. But just showing you that some of the most prominent folks in this space have thick accents. Don't let that put you off, but just know you have to deal with that. Change the speed of the video to help combat that, because it can get very monotonous and droned out. It's really dry material to begin with, so you want to make sure that you find a way to ensure you keep up that energy to study for this exam. So that those are two options for you. Again, freecodecamp.org and Thor Teaches. One other resource that I found is Reddit, obviously the CISSP subreddit. And I wanted to point out, so I wrote mine 3 years ago, but there have been more and more folks posting about their failures. And I think this is good because I think people need to see the failures of those attempting the exam. This is not an easy exam. If you pass it the first time, that's great. But this is not an easy exam. It's a very challenging exam in the way that the questions are worded. This is not a technical exam, first and foremost. This is a risk management exam. So me as a technician, infrastructure engineer, whatever you want to call it, that plays a manager, plays leadership role, I didn't come in here with the right mindset, and I let a lot of this noise that was in the subreddit get to me because I expected the exam to end at 100 questions because I was so confident in my answers that when the test continued, I got in my head. And I got in my head because the questions continued. I'm like, oh my God, did I fail this? How badly did I fail this? And this and that. And when the exam stopped at 125 and I saw that I failed, I'm like, shit, when did I fail? And did I, was I this close to passing? And then I let the number get me. So I said, let me post my frustrations. And again, there's more frustration on myself. And at the time, there weren't many folks posting that they failed. And again, most people don't want to post that they failed, right? They want to post that they were successful. But if you read through some of these success stories and the resources, you'll see some of them didn't pass the first time. And they just kept at it. It's not a cheap exam. It's not a cheap exam. I think if I look at it now, and I go to get certified and I'm going to do CISSP and I want to do get new pricing. Oh, this is online training, right? This is the training. Let's see. Oh, I don't want to do that. Let me sign in because I think it's just easier if I do this. But it's, oh my God, it's something that, holy cow. You know what? I've been playing with my mouse settings, and I forget that sometimes I have to drag my mouse, and it's because of Fortnite. It's always because of Fortnite that my mouse settings are all screwed up. So if I go back to get certified CISSP, and then I go to where I go here, register and prepare the exam, register now. Holy cow! Didn't I not sign in already? I swear, I hate some of this stuff where they're like, oh, you got to sign in 22 times. Oh, this is Pearson VUE, that's why. View exams, and I know. I'll get there. I want it in English. Next. I'm eligible. Oh my God, can I go next or no? Me, VP. Oh, I want English. I'm not Arabic. No, I know a second. Oh, okay. English, education, a training program. I didn't even know we had to do this. Any web training? Oh my God! All I want to do is just. I don't know. Can I just say none? There we go. Highest level. No. All right, let's see. Oh my God. No. All right, whatever. Because I'm not going to actually do this. I'm going to go here because this is where I always go. Okay, this one. Next. I can't take it until the 28th. And I'll do it. Block this appointment. All to $740. This is all to find the price because they don't make it easy for you, right? $740 to take the exam. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. So I wanted to show that to you all because if you really want to take this exam, and it's probably here somewhere, but of course I'm never prepared for this stuff. If you really want to take this exam, it's going to cost you, and that's why it hurt so much when I failed. It really hurt. Really hurt me. So I said, you know what? Let me take some time off. Let me focus on this. So now I'm back in the full swing of things, thanks to my direct report and her desire to take the certification exam. Now, if she passes it and I don't, then I'm gonna look like a dummy. So that's one of the things. So that once I do that, then I'm gonna go into the GRC certification, the CRISC, and that's the ISACA certification, right? So ISACA is what do I do? Oh, credentialing, right? ISACA is really started off in auditing, in the auditing space. So they're really good in terms of auditing, and they kind of took that and decided to create these certifications, right? Certified Information Systems Auditor, and this is the one I'm looking at. Certified in Risk and Information Systems Control. So this is what I've been focusing on over the past, I'd say 4 years since I started in my current job. In really identifying the controls that need to be put in place to manage or mitigate risk, and working with the internal audit team. I just had a call with the internal audit team yesterday and talking about one of my privileged access management platforms, and they said, you know, can we do an audit of it, because we've never done it before. We don't know what we don't know, and there's certain things that we believe may be helpful, but we're not sure if we should do a full-blown audit or just do an advisory call to talk through what we said. And I said, no, let's do a full-blown audit, because we've never done it before. I own the tool for privileged access management, but I don't own the strategy or defining the policies, because again, I'm an infrastructure. So that's really not my role, and I could do that, but I don't want to step on other people's toes in the risk management space, in the cybersecurity space. So that's what I'm looking at after I get my CSSP, and I know I'm going to get it. I could probably do this in parallel, but I think I want to focus on one thing at a time. So that's kind of my game plan going forward, and I may be talking about some of these things as I progress. I intend to take it probably next month, the CISSP, because excuse me, the 2-for-1 or the retake, the free retake. I think that's going to be good. I did get my I don't know if does this show it yet. I don't know if I'm a full-blown member yet. I don't think I paid, but I know I submitted member dashboard. Let's see if I'm a member yet. Oh shit! All right, so all I got to do is pay, and then I'll be good. So I'll probably do that, and then I'll be able to be an official ISC squared member for why did I close that for the future, and then I'll be good to go. So one thing I want to show you, because if this interests you, the Risk and Information Systems Control certification, or working in GRC, I think ultimately my goal is to work in some risk management area. I may do IT internal audit. And the reason I say may is because I kind of see myself in that role probably towards the tail end of my career, because it really is boring. It's not fancy, because you're just sitting there looking through different through documents and just meeting with people, and I've worked with some auditors that are just like, they just don't get it, because they came from the accounting background, right, and the financial audit. So they figured they could just take what they learned and apply it to technology, but it's a little bit more nuanced. So it's, so I kind of see myself riding off into the sunset as an IT auditor. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely the GRC, the governance risk and compliance, is something I want to focus my attention on. I've already started talking to people in my current organization about transitioning into this role. There's nothing really open or available, but I've started planting the seeds saying, hey, I've been doing this infrastructure stuff for so long. I want to look at moving into the risk management world, not cyber, because I never found that. I don't like I'm not a police officer, right? I'm not. And I see cyber as the police of the organization. The risk management team is the internal affairs from a police, right? Like, so that's the way in my crazy head that I look at it. But that's where I'm going. That's what I think. So one person that I really want to provide provide to you as a resource is Dr. Gerald Auger from simplycyber.io. He actually offers a GRC masterclass, and he provides you a certification or certificate of completion. So I'm in that. I believe it's pay as you go, but I wound up just paying everything, paying the max, and actually donating a subscription, which he actually handed out to, I think, a Girls Who Code seminar that he went to. Which I think is awesome, right? Because again, I want to give back. I want to give back to people. I want to give folks the opportunities that I didn't have, because I made my own opportunities. But I have had help along the way. Don't get me wrong. I've had help along the way. I've been lucky, and I want to make sure I try to give back to those. So Dr. Gerald Auger from simplycyber.io. Here's his Simply Cyber LinkedIn page. He obviously does have. There is a website, simplycyber.io. So if I go to simplycyber.io, obviously you get it, right? He does have a course, the GRC Analyst Masterclass. That's his only course that he offers. But he also has different videos around what's capable. And see this? Have no IT background. All right. What have I been saying from the beginning of this show back in 2015, even to today? This is validating, right? This is validating what is possible, right? And I just saw this, right? I just saw this. I didn't come to his website before. I just saw this. So now let's go there. Right? You have no IT, and this is about getting into cybersecurity. But you can take these same background, these same concepts, right, and apply them to a true IT non-cybersecurity space. You can go in cyber. You can do this definitely. Anybody can go into cyber. I've seen it. I've seen people off the street in cyber, and it just, right? I stand with the side of the industry that you must have a background in IT before you get into cyber. I'm on that side of the fence. You must have some sort of background in IT before you get into cyber. You need to understand networking. You need to understand how applications work. You need to understand when applications go wrong, where they can go wrong. That will make you a well-rounded cybersecurity professional. But people are doing it because there's a big skills gap, and it's going to continue to be a big skills gap. But you can do it. So don't get me wrong. I've been saying it time and time again. You don't need a technology background to get into certain things. And he's showing you right here. Boom. You want to get into cybersecurity? Do it. So simplycyber.io is his main website. He does, I believe it's he does do a daily cybersecurity news and live stream. There you go. I forgot what it was. Every day, I think it's around 8 o'clock Eastern, because I believe he's West Coast or Central U.S. Mountain time. I don't even know, but I think he starts his day at 6 in the morning, so he does that for about an hour, and he talks around all the cyber news and talks through some of those things, which I think really provides some valuable insight, because he does have a doctorate, I believe, in cybersecurity. And we can check here real quick. He's got a doctorate in cyber operations. So he has put some work into this, right? And you can look at his dissertation around information security management at healthcare providers, right? I don't care if this is not a doctorate at Harvard or whatever, MIT. I don't care. You're at that level. You do have to put a lot of work into developing your dissertation and I forgot what it's called. It's presenting your dissertation, but I forgot the terminology. But you're defending your dissertation because amongst a panel of your they're not peers, of a panel of your professors, a council, whatever you want to call them. But you have to defend your dissertation, and it's not easy. It's not easy because you have to have that ability to persuade your audience. And I talk about this in my shows, right? Go back and talk about effective communication and why I feel Toastmasters is really, really beneficial as a technology professional. Because you, at some point, you're going to have to defend a decision that you make. You're going to have to convince folks to follow the implementation or solution that you want to propose or implement, right? So this guy, Dr. Gerald Aug, or Jerry, right? He knows some stuff. Yeah, he's put in the time. He continues to put in the time. So having that insight from his theoretical knowledge and application to some of the work that he's done really, really should be something that's considered valuable in terms of knowledge. So there's a lot to dive into in terms of what we want to do going forward. But just take the time to sit down and figure out what it is that you want to do. Just figure it out. Write it down. It's key. A lot of people don't do this. They just kind of keep it in their head, or they put it on the sticky note here on your computer, and then it disappears. Write it down. I have, let's see, where are they? Oh, here they are. I have a couple of journals, right, that I write stuff in. I go back and I look at it. I had a couple of them over here. Those two were full. Those are moleskins. Those are full. So take the time, write it down. Write down what your goals are. Put some defined times. I'm going to do this in 3 months. And look at it every day. The same way folks set an exercise plan. No, I'm not one to talk. I do walk every day, but But when I want to focus on my career, I write it down. This business, I told my wife, I was like, give me 6 months to land my first client. And I did. And I said, give me a year to continue and build, right, before you quit. She doesn't want to be a teacher anymore. Because it's painful for her at this point. It's really not teaching, right? So I said, give me a year. So now I have the client. Give me a year to build it out, right? To get to a point where, because I'm already doubling her salary, right? Gross. I'm doubling her gross salary, right? So after taxes and things, I'm still going to be making more than her with this one client. Now figure another one. It's a no-brainer. Why would she work? So that's kind of the mindset that I'm in. And I still have 2 kids that are going to be going off to college in 5 years. 5 fucking years. Some may say that's a long time. For me, it's not. It's not a long time. So I got to make sure that I set them up for success, because that's what we do, right? I'm a first-generation American. My parents, they worked their asses off to make sure I was taken care of. And now I've already surpassed what their expectations were of me. So now I'm setting the bar high for my kids so they can take care of me when I get older, which is probably another 10 years. I'll be done. But thank you for listening. I know this was supposed to be short, but I wanted to make sure that I got all the entire message across. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for those that are continue listening. I do appreciate that. Again, this will always be free. This will always be free. The ITXP on this platform, on this audio version, if you're listening to audio, apologies if you're listening to audio, check out the YouTube site. I do have the ITXP on YouTube, a couple videos here, 2 videos so far. This will be the 3rd, episode 2, season 8. I've been doing this since 2015. Not well, but I've been doing this since 2015, and I think it's something that I would like to continue, hopefully consistently. I think last year or the year before that was my most consistent year. But yeah, and if you want to listen to my CISSP journey, I put it up here on my YouTube channel, just the audio version, so you can listen to some key highlights from the 6th season and also the 5th season. So there's some stuff in there, just audio version. But now I want to try to show more visual things. So if you're on audio and you want to go back to the YouTube channel to kind of look at what I was doing, that's what I tend to do for some of the YouTube channels I'm on, YouTube shows I listen to. So thank you for showing up. My website, theitxp.com, is in the middle of a transition. So if you go to Libsyn, libsyn.com, you can get all my audio recordings here. They'll all be here from the first season on. I used to do this Monday morning musings, and where it was kind of off topic, that I leveraged some funny things here and there. I did an Apple event a couple years ago to talk through some of the new things. I wish I did it this year because the iPhone 14 Pro Plus, what? Right? I was phone agnostic, operating system agnostic, but after having an Android for about 2 years now, this is the Pixel 4a 5G, I'm done. I'm done with Android. I just can't anymore. It's so problematic. It's it's a pain. And you're talking to a guy that's been using Android since it first came out. I would flip back and forth between Android and the iPhone. And it's gotten to a point where I always say this until something else comes down along that grabs my attention, but I'm done with Android. I tried it again. I took a 3-year break and then went to the Pixel 4a 5G. It's a great phone. Don't get me wrong, it's a great phone. But now it's gotten sluggish. I gotta wipe it and do it again. But it's not as responsive as I'd like it to be. Sometimes when I'm making calls without my headset, they can't hear me, and it's just it's always been like that. Even when I first got the phone, it's a challenge with Android that sometimes it's just never consistently working. So check out the ITXP on Libsyn. I will relaunch my website, theitxp.com, soon. I've been learning Terraform, so now I have a Terraform plan to build my website on AWS. I just got to populate the episodes into that website. So once I do that, I'll publish it, and then you all can go to the new itxp.com page. I mean, the page is still there. The current one. This is on GitHub Pages, so See, I stopped with this one, and then I started with season 4, but they're on here. It's just not the way I wanted to present the information here. But I'm there, the itxp.com, and then follow me on TikTok, the _IT_XP. I'm there, just farting around. It really doesn't talk about technology, but just some interesting things that I find are interesting that you can see. But other than that, thank you very much. I am back, and we will be doing more of these, hopefully more consistently, at least once a month, but we'll see. Thank you, and we'll talk to you soon.